Greetings and welcome to Simmer's Game Day, brought to you by Equity.Guru, investment advice for millennials and madmen. Of course, wagering is not investment advice. This is hockey advice, and there are no guarantees, just like investing, although we've done pretty damn well. Yesterday, a 2-1 day. On Friday, we got the Montreal Canadiens wrong. They lost, shut out, in fact, but we did get the under correct. So you would have lost buying that goal and a half, decent amount, a swing there, but you would have got it back with the under and also by taking the Florida Panthers, who we told you to take over the Winnipeg Jets. So a good day overall, 2-1. The weird thing about this is the beautiful thing about hockey, the intangibles. You can't quantify this stuff. About 10 minutes after warm-up, they decided that Semyon Varlamov was not going to play for the New York Islanders in net. We had it Varlamov against Price. Ended up being Sorokin against Price. Sorokin gets bombed out the night before against Pittsburgh, 6-3 loss. Ends up being forced to start again. Pitches a shutout. Okay, I mean, who predicts this stuff? It's crazy. He just stepped up and said, "You know what? This is Carey Price's night. I'm gonna steal it from him," and he did. Dramatically outshot the Islanders, and they still managed to pull off that victory. So, I mean, who knows what's going on? But anyway, we finished 2-1. So let's look at Saturday. Weird day. Not a fan of matinees. They're usually a little bit screwy. Fortunately, I was covering the Vancouver Canucks practice, so didn't have a chance to really look at the matinees. Only one involving a Canadian-based club, and that was Edmonton hosting Vegas. And I hadn't really had a chance to handicap that one because in the morning when I was looking at it, they hadn't decided who was playing goal. We didn't know who the netminders yet were going to be. I believe it turned out to be Logan Thompson against Mike Smith, but sorry we missed that one. Let's talk about the other games involving Canada-based teams. I'm going to go through this quickly today because it's all logic-based. There's nothing really gut here. This is, nothing like that sixth sense, that hockey sense from decades of watching and feeling. This is more just straight up logic. Big letdown. Montreal's at home against Washington. Washington got shelled the other night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They skate in. It's a letdown game for Montreal. Price comes back last night. He plays and loses. It's unless Carey Price says, "Hey, I want to play again. I want more work. Let's keep it going." Which I would think would be crazy. It'll be Samuel Montembeault in net. And with his, what is it, .895 save percentage and a goals against close to 4, maybe. Jake Allen's done for the season with a groin injury. So Montembeault against Vitek Vanacek, who at times can be incredible. So the Caps could probably use this game. They're in the second wildcard spot. They're home and cooled out in terms of making the playoffs, but they probably would like to start playing a little bit stronger hockey. So let's see if Washington can take advantage of the letdown. I would give up the goal and a half and take the Caps on the road in this hockey game. That's numero uno. Toronto's at Ottawa. Battle of Ontario. Always, Battle of Ontario. And a nice win for Ottawa the other day, 3-2 against the Boston Bruins. They've got a 2-game winning streak. Guess what? Toronto Maple Leafs, Hockey Night in Canada tonight, 8-1-1 in their last 10. They're on a bit of a roll, 102 points. Boston and Tampa kind of nipping at their heels a little bit. So I think Toronto's going to take this very seriously. They're going to protect their backup netminder, Eric Kallgren, who's in net, probably Forsberg. Have not verified that yet, Anton Forsberg. But I just like the Leafs. And I like the over. I think this is going to be a game of shinny. So there's your two coming out of that game, Toronto and the over. Again, we're just going logic here. More logic. Winnipeg's at Tampa. This one's a little creepy. Winnipeg loses in Florida, as we predicted. Now they go into Tampa. It's not so much about the Jets in this case. They're basically out of the playoffs. This is a do or die must win, they're out anyway, but they're clinging around. Are they going to step up and actually play a good hockey game? Who knows? All I know is Tampa needs to play a good hockey game. 98 points for the Bolts. Boston already won today. They beat Pittsburgh 2-1, I believe it was. So they're 1 point behind. Boston could jump out of that wild card spot into third place. Doesn't really mean that much because it's not home ice in the first round either way. And both these teams have clinched. That's the one thing that makes me a little nervous about Tampa Bay. They already clinched the playoff spot on Thursday night. Boston just clinched their spot today. However, John Cooper. Coop's going to want this team playing a little bit better hockey right now. They've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat. They beat Buffalo last weekend. They beat Anaheim, but they've lost to Boston. They've lost to Dallas 1-0 on Tuesday night. They lost to Washington. They got smoked by Toronto the week before. I think Coop would like to see this team start to generate a little something here. And they've got 2 days off coming up. So I think they'll take advantage of the Jets, who are discombobulated. They have not, Dave Lowry's not announced his goaltender yet. It's maybe Eric Comrie. Does he go back-to-back with Connor Hellebuck out of desperation? It is Brian Elliott for Tampa, by the way, but I'm still going with the Bolts. Give up the goals, take the Bolts. And then finally, speaking of logic, Calgary can clinch a position against the Arizona Coyotes. Yes, there's always the trap possibility, but God, the Coyotes are awful. And Calgary is coming off a very difficult loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. Daryl Sutter will have this team focused and ready to crush, I would think. It doesn't really matter who the goaltenders are, even though I think Markstrom's getting a start. So there you go. Let me review for you. Washington, Toronto in the over, Tampa Bay, and Calgary. So there's definite favorites today on Logic Land. And that's it. Let's see if we can keep this rolling. Is Simmer's Game Day. A little bit wordy. Sorry about that. Brought to you by Equity.Guru. Investment advice for wild men and women, madmen and millennials.